The Trump administration will stop classifying Israeli West Bank settlements as a violation of international law, a step that some are raising concerns with. Who are those some? Ilhan Omar saying Israeli settlements violate international law, decades of U.S. foreign policy, and the human rights of Palestinians. All who believe in the possibility of peace must speak up. That she's not happy about this. In the end, we will not remember the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Bernie Sanders, Israeli settlements in occupied territory are illegal. This is clear from international law and multiple UN resolutions. Once again, Mr. Trump is isolating the United States and undermining diplomacy by pandering to his extremist base. Let me first go to Skip Ash. Define what these settlements are and where they're located.
The settlements are within what's the territory we know as the West Bank, which was the territory that the Israelis did not conquer during the 1948-49 war. It was occupied by the Jordanians. There are settlements there that are Jewish settlements. They're there on key pieces of terrain, and they're there for the security of Israel. So, and they're becoming quite extensive, but they're also lawful. I want to encourage that. When we get into the lawfulness, I want to make sure that people understand that they are absolutely lawful. They have been encouraged since the Mandate for Palestine in the early 1920s, and they are definitely lawful, irrespective of what some of our politicians are saying, and irrespective of what the international bodies like the United Nations General Assembly is saying.
So for the people, they've been encouraged to go. They're encouraged to do this and to make this their home, because everyone knew that at some point, if there's any kind of peace talks, they'll have to negotiate this land. And some of this land, Israel believes, is Israel's. And even though that the mandates in the UN and this. So I think from the U.S. taking a step back and say, we're not going to say this is illegal. Have a negotiation over.
The U.S. policy change announced by Secretary Pompeo is consistent with U.S. opposition to BDS and U.S. continual strong support for Israel. As Than correctly points out, moving the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem, recognizing Israel's control of the Golan Heights. And it's very, very important with respect to the timing of Pompeo's declaration, because it takes place shortly after the European community decided to mislabel Israeli goods from the settlement, grounded in the mistaken notion that goods produced in the so-called settlement areas are occupied territories. This is pure political theater on the part of the Europeans.
What this old policy, which thankfully the Trump administration is reversing, what it does is it penalizes Israel on an issue that does not take into account the history of the region, the geographical realities of the region, and the multiple issues that the Palestinians consistently refuse to address. This is simply a good thing that has happened. The Palestinians have a history in all of my lifetime that I can remember of refusing to take yes for an answer. Every time Israel negotiates in good faith, the Palestinians respond with unfaith and violence. This land historically belongs to Israel.